right, let's look at 5 reasons why Michigan will beat TCU. You look at the stats for these two teams, and everything pretty much goes in Michigan's favor. And I'll read off some of those stats because some of them are included in these reasons. But we'll give you 5 reasons here why Michigan will beat TCU. And we start with the offensive line. I mean, that is the most underrated part of this team. Some people give them credit. A lot of people just kind of look over it. This is a really good offensive line, perhaps the best offensive line in the country. And that's why they have been so good running the football this year. Yes, Blake Corum, he was great, but you got to give a lot of credit to that offensive line. You look at Michigan, they're 5th in the country in rushing. They're 11th in sacks allowed, so they don't give up many sacks. And you flip that around to TCU, they're 77th in sacks. So looking at their defense, getting to the quarterback, 77th. Their run defense is 67th. That is a recipe for a disaster. And I think the biggest reason why Michigan will win this game if they do, it's because of the offensive line. Their ability to run the football, protect J.J. McCarthy, it's going to be very tough for this TCU defense, which again has not been good at stopping the run or getting to the quarterback. So a big advantage for Michigan with this offensive line. And yes, I think the offensive line will be the biggest reason why they could win this game. Number 2, the pass rush. I just talked about how TCU doesn't really have a pass rush, not a great one. Well, Michigan does. Michigan is very good at getting to the quarterback. They're 24th nationally in sacks this year. They spread it around, though. I mean, a lot of guys, it's not like last year with Aiden Hutchinson and Ojabo, those guys that, those are game wreckers, but they can do it from across the board. This team has a lot of players with a lot of sacks this year, and it's the linebackers, it's the defensive linemen. They come at you from all over. Mike Morris, 7.5 sacks this year. He's been their leader in sacks. You also look at Michael Barrett, 3.5 sacks for him. But if you just look at their stats, Jalen Harrell, 3.5 sacks. Junior Colson, 2 sacks. Sainer Still, 2 sacks. And that's coming from the secondary. Chris Jenkins, 2 sacks. Just go down the list. They've got a lot of guys that can get after the quarterback. They can come at you from a bunch of different spots on the field. And that's going to be a big key, I think. Like I said, 24th in the country in sacks. TCU, 51st in sacks allowed. So they give up some sacks. And so I think, again, you look at the offensive line for Michigan, the pass rush for Michigan, huge advantages, and those are usually big factors in a big game like this. So give Michigan the advantage in both of those categories. And then also, I think you can look at third downs, red zone, turnovers. Those are usually a big factor in who's going to win one of these games as well. You look at Michigan, 17th in the country in converting on offense. Compared to TCU, they're 41st on defense. So they've been pretty solid getting off the field on defense, but 41st, not great. Michigan, very solid at 17th. And then you look at the other side of that, TCU is 53rd in the country in converting on third down. Michigan is 19th on defense and getting stops on third down. So advantage in both of those areas for Michigan. TCU is a team that likes to take a lot of big shots, so they get into some third and longs, and you get into third and long against this pass rush for Michigan, could be a long day. So another thing that definitely goes in favor of Michigan here is the third down battle. Both sides of the ball, clear advantage for the Wolverines. Number 4, it's the red zone. Just said, third downs, red zone. These are huge factors in a big game. And Michigan is also very good in the red zone. They're 5th in the country in converting in the red zone. On offense, compared to TCU's defense, they're 76th on defense, so they're not very good at stopping teams in the red zone, and Michigan is really good in the red zone. Now, I would say that Michigan has settled for a lot of field goals this year, so I think they need to be able to punch it into the end zone in this game. If they have to settle for a lot of field goals, then TCU, that's going to play into their hands, because TCU's I feel pretty confident they're going to be able to score some points in this game. So if they can hold Michigan to field goals, that'll obviously be huge. But then you look at the other side of this. TCU is not good in the red zone. On offense, they rank 80th in the country. Michigan's defense ranks 31st. And again, it's a lot of those big plays for TCU. They like to make big plays. They don't methodically go down the field. They're similar to Ohio State on offense, and we saw how that turned out in the game, of course. And so, again, red zone, third downs, big advantage for Michigan. Offensive line an advantage for Michigan. Pass rush an advantage for Michigan. across the board, I mean, if you just look at the stats really favor Michigan in this game and would really indicate that this game might not be close at all. But I wouldn't go that far because TCU, Max Duggan, the way they fought this year, don't count them out of this game. But we still got one more reason here. When we look at the psychological factors in this game, and I think experience will be huge for Michigan. We've seen it many, many times in all sports. A team will get to the postseason, but they won't really get very far. Maybe they lose in the first round. I see it even in basketball. A team will make it for the first time in a long time, and they get knocked out in the first round. But then they come back the next year, and they make a deep run. So I think you could maybe look at this in football as well. Michigan has been there. They were there last year. They know what it's all about. They know what to expect. You're just talking about the practices, all the things that go on off the field to prepare for a playoff game. It's just different. They've been through that. They know what's going on. They're going to be, ready to go. Whereas TCU, this is their first time in the playoff. Those players maybe don't know what to expect as much. And it's a Michigan team that they're going to be favored in this game. Of course, they're not the underdogs, but the way they lost last year to Georgia, I think they're going to be really fired up for this game. And so I think they'll be ready. The experience from last year, I think, will definitely help them. And it could be a big factor in this game against a TCU team that's playing with no pressure. That's their advantage. If they can go out and play loose, yes, advantage TCU. But the experience of Michigan, having already played in the playoff before, and a lot of experienced guys on the roster, this Michigan team, that experience could be the difference. It could be one of the big reasons why they win this one.